So in this part, we're going to talk about the power property and the expanding part. So let's take an example we have. Log base 7 of x to the third power. So if we were to expand, so basically since the x has the exponent of 3, what we can do is rewrite it by moving the 3 in front of the log. So it's going to be 3, regular size number, log base 7, and then just x. And then that's all you have to do. So to review, when I'm expanding and the x has the exponent, I simply move the exponent in front of log and write it as a regular size number. Then we have log base 7 of x, and then that's it. In this example, we have log base 4 of 9 to the n power. So if you were to ask to expand, I'm going to move the n, because this is my exponent, in front of log. So I'm going to write n as a regular size variable, and then log base 4, then 9. And then there goes my expand form. I just move the n in front of log and write as a regular size variable, log base 4, and then 9. And that's all to it. In this part, we're going to talk about condensing using the power property. So I have 5 log base 2 of m. So what I'm going to do is I'm moving the number that's in front of log next to the m and write it as a size of an exponent. So we have log base 2 of m to the 5th power inside the parenthesis, or you can rewrite it as log base 2 of m raised to the 5th power where the exponent is outside the parenthesis. Either form is okay. If you have parentheses, you can have the exponent inside or outside. Again, either form works as long as it's a single variable or a single integer inside of log. In this example, I have x times log base 2 of 6. If I'm using the power property to condense, I'm going to move my x that's in front of log next to the 6 and write it as the size of an exponent. So log base 2 of 6 to the power of x, like that, where the x is inside the parenthesis, or you can write it as log base 2 of 6 to the power of x, where the x is outside the parenthesis. Again, as I stated before, either form works for me as long as you have one variable or one positive integer inside a log. That's okay. You can do that. If you have multiple parts, then you will have to follow the second format. The x or the exponent is outside the parenthesis if you have multiple parts inside. In this example, I have z times log base 5 of 4x. So if I were to condense using the power property, I'm going to move my z next to the 4x. Now, since we have multiple parts inside of log, so we're going to write log base 5 of 4x first, and then my z that's going to be written as an exponent, it has to be outside the parenthesis. It has to be outside. So you would just write it as log base 5 of 4x where the z is outside the parenthesis. And then that's all you have to do. So in this format, since I have multiple parts, which is the 4 and the x, inside of log, my z is written as the exponent outside the parenthesis. So you have to start off like this. Have the z outside the parenthesis if you have multiple parts inside. In here, in this example, we have 3 times log base 7 of 4. If you were to condense, I'm going to move my 3 as an exponent. So I'm going to rewrite it as log base 7 of 4 to the 3rd power. And again, you can also write it as log base 7 of 4 raised to the 3rd power, where the 3 is outside the parenthesis. Now, since we have an integer with a number exponent, you can actually still simplify it. So it's going to be log base 7, where 4 to the 3rd power is 64. So this is my final answer if you were asked to simplify. Now here, we condense by moving the 3 next to the 4 and write it as the size of an exponent. If you're asked to simplify, then continue. So you raise 4 by the third power, and we got 64.